Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Samantha Anderson. I am a freelance artist and teacher hoping to inspire creativity. If you would like more videos like these, please take a second to like and subscribe down below. It really helps in the algorithm of YouTube to help get my videos seen to more people. If you want to receive notifications of when I go live, please make sure to hit the bell and choose all notifications. If you have any questions during or after the class, make sure to pop a comment down below and I will answer it as soon as I can. If interested in learning more about my classes, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And feel free to check me out on Patreon, where I teach exclusive classes to those who support me. In Patreon, I also give traceables for all of my live classes, including this one. Lastly, if you would like to share your work after class with me and others who painted along with us, please head over to Facebook, as I have an artist community where you can share your finished painting with us. I'll leave links for all of that in the description box below. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another tutorial here on my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do that so you don't miss any new classes coming up. And as always, if you are not following my Facebook page, please make sure to go over and do that, as it's like where I post 90% of everything I post for upcoming classes. Okay, so welcome in. I love painting waves and pretty sunsets, so this is going to be a fun class. Let's go ahead and go over supplies. While I'm doing that, you can go ahead and comment down below and let me know where you're from, who you're painting with, all of that fun stuff. And don't forget to share the video with your friends so they can paint it too. Okay, so the first thing we're going to go over is the canvas. I have an 11 by 14 stretched canvas. You can use a different size if you would like to. But this is what I usually paint with. I feel like it's big enough to put on your wall, but not too big that it takes a really long time with. And then for all of you who maybe need a little extra guidance, I do have a traceable for this one. I personally am not going to be using one. I feel like I can teach this without one, and it gives you a little bit more freedom about where you want your waves. But if you need that extra little guidance, that is totally fine. I have that available in my Patreon. And if you painted a previous class and you're still a Patreon, or you're still a patron at least the $5 level, you will have access to this. You can literally just go pick it up. If you would like to become a supporting patron over on my Patreon, I have the link to the traceable in the description of this event, the video, as well as pinned in the comment section of the live chat. So feel free to go and do that. You can become a patron just to support the channel. You can do it because you want the traceable. You can do it. I have other classes that we do once a month. We have other classes that we do weekly. So feel free to go check that out. It's a lot of fun to have you guys in there. And then lastly, at the end of the video, make sure that you go over to my Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group, and post your version of this painting in the album that I will post. A lot of people don't end up going into the actual album to post that. They'll just post it on the wall, but then it gets lost in the feed and you don't really see it again. So make sure that you go in the actual album and post it in there so that everybody else can see them too. Okay, so that is that's the canvas, and I do have my traceable in the 11 by 14 as well as a 9 by 12, and if you're using a different size traceable or a different size canvas and you ever would like a different size traceable, just post on that traceable post in Patreon and just let me know, and it's really easy for me to resize it and upload it to that post. Okay. I have two things of water. I have a palette knife so that I can pre-mix my colors. I also have some paper towel, a palette for mixing my colors. And then I also have a couple brushes. So let me go over the brushes real fast. I have all my usual brushes for this class, as well as a few extras. I have my 11 by 14, I have my 3/4 inch large filbert. I have a smaller filbert. Let me put these over here so you can see them. And then I have some round brushes. I have two smaller ones. One's a little bit more pointed. And then I also have a texture brush, or what I like to call my cloud brush, or my dry brushing brush. And then I do have some liner brushes over here, but I don't think we'll really need any line brushes for this one. And then I also have a big one. Now, you do not need a large brush for this one, but it goes by much quicker when you're trying to get really smooth and gradient backgrounds. It's really nice to have a larger brush for this, because it's much easier to get those smooth gradients with a larger brush. So, do you need a larger one? No, but it is easier to accomplish what you're trying to if you do have a larger brush. So if you do have a nice, large, soft brush for the background, feel free to grab that. And if you don't, then I would just use a just whatever large brush you like to use for your backgrounds. And then on to colors. Now, colors are a little bit, you really can use whatever you want. It's not really, like, you don't have to use the same colors that I am, obviously. I have a bunch of kind of mixed colors all around. I have some from Grumbacher, from Master Touch, from Liquitex, from Hippie Crafter. So I kind of use a little bit of everything just based off of what color I have and what brand I have it in. So for instance, for the water, this is one of my favorite colors. And it's a little bit more green. I'll probably have to adjust the color a little bit. But this is a turquoise green. It's one of my favorite colors. And whenever I paint like blue stuff, wow, I apologize. My my camera is like super duper. It is very much contrasted right now. Let me fix that. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. This is just really obnoxious. I don't know why it's not adjusting. Whoa. Okay. Well, you guys are just gonna have to deal with me being weird right now. Okay. Whatever. My camera's being weird. I don't know what's going on, but that's okay. I probably will have to adjust my other camera, because whenever I do like blue things, it tends to make everything on the bluer side, the cooler side versus the warm side. So even if I paint like a really warm greenish blue, it'll show on my camera as not that. So once we put in our colors and our blues, I'll probably have to adjust the camera. So bear with me on that. I still haven't figured out how to adjust the camera otherwise. It's probably a setting on my actual camera and not in my program, but that is okay. Yay for streaming. Cameras never see what our actual eyes do, huh? That's just not how it works in real life, but that is okay. All right, so for the colors, I'll have like a turquoise green, but then I'll also have my phthalo blue, and my, this looks purple. It's not purple, it's phthalo blue, and a green, a bright green. So that's what I will have there. And then I'll also have a black, a white, and then I'll have a couple different warmer colors, like my two different colors of pink. I have a bright, vibrant pink and a magenta, and then I also have a yellow and an orange. So those are the colors that I will be having. Those are all kind of to the side, so they're not on screen. I apologize, but they will be on my palette when I put them there. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, please make sure to just put them down below, and I will get back to them as soon as I see them and I am able to answer them. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put all these other brushes away that I don't need right now. Okay, are y'all ready? Once we put in our base coat, I'm gonna go over some of the other classes that we're working on over in Patreon and what we did last month. Today's kind of, this month has kind of like been a beachy month for our live classes, so I'll show you. We did a really fun one last month. But yeah, let's go ahead and mix some of our colors and then we will get into that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get out my white. I'm also going to get out some vibrant pink. Now if you don't have a vibrant pink, you can just mix together some pink and maybe some white and maybe a little bit of orange could have like a vibrant pink. I like having these vibrant colors on hand just in case I need a little extra touch of just brightness, because whenever you mix together white into anything, it pulls down the saturation of it, which is what makes things either like on a bright to gray scale. It slowly grays it out. It brings down how bright it is, even though it does alter the color, but it also brings down that saturation. So sometimes I want to get a bright color that's whitish but still bright, and so having that bright pink really helps in the coloration of everything. And then I'm also going to get out a nice blue. So I'm using the Phthalo Blue, and that's so I can kind of make that purpley, kind of that purpley color, that purpley sky color. Okay, so those are the colors that we are doing right now. And let's go ahead and mix. I'm just pulling up the photo in a little bit of a bigger photo over here. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and mix together it's going to be mostly white. So you might be thinking, what do you mean it's mostly white? It's definitely like a periwinkle blue. Yes, you are correct, in whatever you want to call that color. It's almost like lavendery. But the majority of this color is going to be your white. I'm going to add a touch of blue and a touch of this magenta color, and we're just going to see what color it becomes. I can already tell I need a little bit more pink, but it's mostly white. You want it to be mostly white because it is such a light color. I'm going to grab a little bit more of this magenta color. Now if you have a purple on hand, feel free to use that purple. I tend to just like to use the colors that I'm already going to be using, and I'm already using pink and blue in this as like the base colors, so I'm just gonna make my own purple. Okay, so in terms of blue and pink, it is a little bit on the bluer side of purple, I would say. And so what we are going to do is, the first we're going to do is we are going to cover the whole thing in this color. So I'm just going to grab my largest brush, dip it ever so slightly in water, because you don't need a whole lot of water, and we're going to just coat this whole thing in this color. And this is essentially going to be your wash and your bottom coat, because you're going to want to get all of that white color covered up, because initially you might be thinking, well, not the whole painting is this color, and you're correct. But more often than not, your white color, your base color, will show through in your painting, and if it's white, it'll stand out a whole lot more versus a color that's like already in your painting, which is going to be this very pretty kind of purpley blue. So getting just a light coat of this on first will really help in the long run. And what I like to do is just use this large brush to get it on. That way it goes quick. You're not waiting a whole ton. And you just have a tiny bit of water just to help it move on that canvas. And I'm making sure that the end result, all of my brush strokes are going in the same direction. And this is important for getting nice, smooth gradients. You want it all to be going in the same direction so that you see as little brush marks as possible. And then turn it over again. Make sure that you get all of the sides. We do want to wrap the canvas. If you are keeping your work and you don't want to wrap your canvas, then it's fine, you don't have to. But if you ever plan on giving it away or selling it, I usually wrap the canvas with the same color that I painted in, because you never know if the person you're selling it to or gifting it is going to put it directly up on the wall, and you want to give them that option too. So even if I plan on keeping it for myself, I like the finished look. I don't necessarily, I don't think I ever have framed any of my canvases. I really enjoy wrapping them and kind of continuing that. Even if it's less detailed, I still like the finished look of it doing that. So that's just my own personal preference. Okay, now with a clean brush, while this is kind of still wet, I'm gonna get a clean brush, and I'm gonna use my my filbert. I'm gonna figure out where all of this stuff is. So my horizon is just below halfway, and I'm just using a little bit of water and I'm gonna go ahead and put in, I'm not putting white on it. I want you to know this. I'm not putting white on the canvas. I am just taking off the very light I'm just kind of taking it off a little bit. And right where this dips here, that is where I'm going to put on, I'm going to take off a little bit more. And that's where the sun is going to be. Kind of just blending that out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of figuring out where this is going to be. And then if you want to, if you didn't do a traceable, and you want to kind of put in some of this markings, you can do that. You don't have to. I think I'm going to leave that for another time. I am going to go ahead and figure out where my little mountains are here. So just with the slightest bit of blue mixed in to my purple paint, just ever so slightly, I'm just kind of trying to mark where it is. And after putting this in, I can see that I didn't go high enough with this one. So I'm just kind of adjusting. Now is a great time for all of those adjustments. But also know that all your waves don't have to look exactly like this. Like they can be different. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush. Let's go ahead and make just a little bit more of this color because we will need, and I think I need a little bit of a darker color. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this color from my palette because I don't have any more. If you still have some, then you can go ahead and just remix in there. But here's the color that I'm working off of. And I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. And I'm gonna go ahead and remix this color. So I need more white, and then I need a little bit more pink and a little bit more blue. I might need a little bit more white. I think I did too much of the colors, but that is okay. And this time we're gonna end up making a gradient in our colors. So I'm gonna get the color as close to this as I can, or at least one of the colors, because I think this middle color here is pretty close to that. Okay, so I think this is a good color for the top. So I'm just gonna leave a little bit of that out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab more white. I'm gonna add more white to this. And then we're also gonna add a little bit more pink and a little bit more bright pink, or a little bit of bright pink. And this is very, very, very close to that first color that we used. It's slightly darker, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna take, so that's that color. So now I'm gonna take this over here. I'm gonna add a little bit more white, and I'm gonna add even more pink. And this time I'm only adding the lightest pink, like the bright pink. Gonna add a little bit more of both of these. Remember, you want enough of a difference that you can see it, because these two colors will be mixed together on the canvas. Because it's a gradient. And then we're gonna have one more color with just our white. We're just adding white for right now. Maybe a little bit more of this purpley color. And I am gonna end up adding a tiny bit of that bright pink. What's nice about the bright pink is that it doesn't necessarily darken the color, because it's still so bright. If we were to put in this dark color, it would end up darkening it and making it a little bit more purpley versus just bright pink. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this and just add my pink, just my pink. I'm going to add a little bit more of this purpley, just so it's not as vibrant. And then I'm gonna add a tiny bit of orange, just to make it a little bit warmer. It's almost like a little bit of a salmon-y pink. Okay, right now I'm just kind of playing with the colors and trying to mix them up a little bit and make sure that they all kind of work together. Oop, sorry, I just bumped it. Okay, I think those colors work well for the top, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to finish that, because I know mixing doesn't come easy to a lot of people. I'm going to keep my colors here, and I'm going to go over some of our recent classes here on YouTube as well as on Patreon. So if you were with me 2 weeks ago for our other summer beach painting, we ended up doing this beautiful painting. I think it came out super, super pretty. And I don't know, it's just super vibrant and it kind of catches you. It's like, whoa, that looks really cool. So if you want to paint this, it is a free class on my YouTube. If you're watching this on the day that it comes out, then you should be able to go over to my like recent uploads or like live or whatever, wherever that's located, just like my recent videos, and this will be one of them. Just as a note, I did forget to put in these on the actual video, so make sure that you do that. I forgot to do it when the class was happening, but I ended up adding them right after. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, so go and paint that one. And then over on Patreon, we have a couple kind of pretty pinkish and bluish fantasy type of stuff. So we painted this one in our Magenta class. That's the $10 tier class. I give you an exclusive once a month class where we go over just a little bit more in-depth fun stuff. You guys can have some influence on what we paint, as always, over in my Patreon. And yeah, we ended up doing this really, really pretty blue butterfly with flowers, and we ended up doing bokeh in the background, which was a lot of fun. And we did bokeh with just a texture brush and not the round brushes, the round sponges, sorry. And it came out really, really good. So that was a lot of fun. Feel free to go and paint that. That is in my Patreon. And I always love your guys' support, and being able to paint with you guys is one of my favorite things. And speaking of, we officially finished our unicorn class. I haven't added any of the magic yet, so I still have a few finishing touches that I'm going to do probably tomorrow. But if you're in Patreon, keep a lookout for that, because I'm really excited to show you my process of what I do to add that stuff. So here's kind of the finished version of the class. And yeah, it looks so amazing. I love how it came out. Just the reflections of everything. I'm going to be adding gold to this. So if you don't have gold paint, that's totally fine. You can make a gold with like some yellows and browns and things like that, and that's totally fine. Or you can kind of leave it this white color. But I will be adding gold to the horn, as well as some like sparkles to the unicorn, and maybe some of the, you know, magical elements in the forest, maybe some of the flowers or some of the light reflection things. I kind of want it to like actually reflect. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, so I'm going to be adding that, and that class will be probably released tomorrow. I'll probably either do that tonight or tomorrow and then release it as soon as I can. That won't be like a live class or anything like that. That's just going to be showing my process for what I did. So today you saw on my Facebook kind of the finished product of just like the class in general, but I'm going to be putting out a kind of class, like an extra class in there showing my process for that. But yeah, anyways, we do that one week by week. So that's a part of my Cobalt class. It's the $20 tier, and we go by week together and paint something, which is a really fun thing because a lot of people don't know how to pace themselves, or they'll stop in a part that's really like a hard stop. It's really hard to go back to, so then you'll end up having a bunch of unfinished paintings. Because sometimes if you don't stop in a good spot, then it's hard to go back to it, or it's hard to be excited for like the next section, because you know you have to like remix paint and things like that. So part of that class is also like sometimes it's 45 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's an hour and a half, and sometimes it's a 2-hour class. It just kind of depends on where we are in the class and where's a good stopping place, so that we want to come back to it. But yeah, that's also part of the class, is teaching that too. But okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and fix this because I bumped it again. My chair apparently is not in a good spot right now. But yeah, okay, so we have all of our colors. Hopefully you do too. And let's go ahead and finish this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get just the tiniest bit of water. I'm going to get my big brush, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this color. And I'm going to add it to the top. And I'm adding the dark on the top, and then I'm slowly going to work my way down. Now I'm going to come into this purple color, and you can blend it up into that color. You can go into the medium color, and you can blend that up. I'm going to go ahead and get this color and just pull it down, and then I'm going to go all the way across. So now I'm going to kind of rinse off my brush again, or rinse off my brush, because we're kind of going into darker colors, and I don't want those darker colors to get in to these. So I'm going to pick up my pink, and that pinkish white kind of comes down here. And now I'm just going to work my way up. On this side of my brush, I'm going to pick up some of that purple. And you can go up if you want to. You can go all the way across. so I'm going to go into a smaller brush now. Go into this bright pink. Make sure that there's a pretty good layer of pink there because the blue is kind of behind there. I'm going to mix a little bit of this purpley and the pink color because I think there needs to be a little bit of a in-between color. Okay, so I think it needs to go a little bit in the whiter, let's see, I think it needs to be whiter. So because this is still wet, I can just take this in here and just blend it in. Okay, and I think based off of my eyes and what I'm kind of seeing is that I think I need a little bit more pink coming up. So I'm just gonna add this pink to the bottom of my brush, and we're just going to work this in. I think I have a little bit too much orange in my pink, so I'm going to go ahead and I added just the tiniest bit of magenta. And because all of this is wet, it's going to blend in quite nice. Which is why having such a big brush is so helpful, because you're able to keep a fairly large area wet while you work. I'm going to slowly start adding a little bit of purple to this. right, that looks pretty darn good. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out this color, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a very quick, which is the remainder of these colors. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on here on the bottom section, just to get a thicker coat of this kind of purpley color. And I'm slowly adding a little bit more color. I'm not trying to add that I'm not trying to add the orange in here. It just kind of happened twice. I'm slowly getting darker as I go down. Alright, so that is just that. I'm just going to go ahead and do the bottom here. Okay, so I think those are good base colors for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the background colors. I'm going to go ahead and clean off this, because if I don't, this is going to dry, and then all that dry paint is going to get into all of my new colors, and I definitely don't want that. So I keep one of these on hand and I use it all the time in my classes, when I'm painting, all the time. Okay, so that is that. We're pretty much done with our big brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it out as much as I can. I have to accept that that one's just gonna stay wet until I clean it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. I'm gonna clean my other brushes too that I used, and we're gonna go ahead and create a color. So the color that we created for this color, for the darkish pink color, I'm going to recreate that color a little bit, and then I have to create a slightly oranger color and slightly lighter, because it's right where the sun is, and it has to be a little bit lighter. And I'll show you how we're going to blend that out. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab some white, and we're going to put in some white here, and then on the outer edge of this we're going to put in some of that orange. And then you can get any other brush that you use to blend your colors. And I have barely any paint on my brush. I'm just kind of rubbing it back and forth and blending that out. My background is mostly dry at this point, so I'm not pulling the back color at all. So right now I'm just kind of trying to create a lighter space so that when I put in the yellow, it's going to go on a light color versus that pink. And then we're gonna have to let this dry before we can move on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this here. And let it dry a little bit. And then we'll come back to it. Okay, let's go ahead and make the color for this, the back mountains. We're gonna go ahead and get out our brown. Sorry, not our brown, our black. So get out some black. And we're going to take some black and some phthalo blue and a little bit of white. Need more black, more white, because we want to gray this out. And blue is the opposite of orange. So we're gonna add just a tiny bit of orange there, and it's gonna create a little bit more of a brown color. So the colors in this are black, white, phthalo blue, and a tiny bit of orange, which are all colors I already had on my palette with the exception of the black. And that looks good. We are going to add white to just a tiny bit of this, so we can add a little bit of a highlight as we go, because the sun is over here. And I'm going to grab one of my smaller brushes, grab this dark color, go ahead and do an outline. Kind of where I want all of this. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom now. And I'm just going to fill this whole section in. You can add just a little bit of water to help your paint kind of come off your brush a little bit if you need it. And then you're going to come in with a slightly lighter color and put it on all of the right side. Just for a little subtle effect. I think I went a little too close to the sun, so I'm just going to get a little bit of water and wipe it away. All right, so now that is pretty good, except I don't like the shape on this one, so I'm going to make it a little bit more. There we go. That's a little better. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out some white, because we do kind of need to finish up this section right here before we can move on. So I'm going to grab some white, dip a little bit of my yellow into it, a little bit more yellow. And I'm going to do a little yellow section. And then I'm going to get a little bit of white. And we're just going to go ahead and try to mix those colors as best as we can. So I'm just kind of moving my brush around. So here's this. I put my yellow there, and I'm just kind of going back and forth. And you can pull that out. Just kind of dry brushing it a little bit. Okay. So this is going to be dry brushing. So you can add back those colors if you need to. And then you can just take in your brush. Grab some of this yellow. And you can just wiggle your brush, going around it. I kind of brush off my my brush in between. Just make sure you don't pick up color from your you don't pick up color in the process, which is what I just did. Alright, so you're going to kind of just play around with it until you like it, and then in the very, very center of it, you're going to go ahead and just put some pure white in there for the sun. For this part, you might have to wait until it fully dries so that you don't get it mixing with the yellow. So I will go ahead and continue on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out. Alright, so there we go. That is the painting so far. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the water. So the water is comprised of this pink color that we've already kind of been using. I am going to make it a little bit more pinkish, as that's kind of what we decided we were doing, at least for my specific painting. I had a little bit more, just less orange in it. And I'm going to put it off to the side so I don't get dry paint in it. So I have my pink. We're going to go ahead and make a dark, pretty blue. So I'm going to go ahead and make some space for this. We have a little bit more of this like pinky color that we'll probably use, this pinky purpley color. And then we have to make a nice teal blue color and then a darker color. So I have some turquoise green. Oh, kind of just squished out. It's probably too much paint, but that's just what's gonna happen. Because that's one of the things I like about the bottles, is that you can put back paint that you end up not using. So this is a really pretty color. I am going to add just a touch of dark phthalo blue to it. Maybe I'll keep a little bit out. Okay, so there's that, and then I'm going to take a little bit of this and add even more phthalo blue, and then a little bit of this kind of blackish color, blackish gray color that we used for the mountains. Okay, so here are those colors. I'm gonna grab my large filbert brush. After I'm gonna go ahead and make this color again so I can blend in with it. I'm gonna do white, a little bit of blue, a little bit of pink, more white. That is kind of the perfect color. Wow. Okay, so that works nicely. I'm going to go ahead and figure out where my darkest areas are first. With maybe not the darkest color, but the kind of the medium color. So once we kind of figure out where everything is, we can then go from back to front. And we can go from back to front and blend everything. For this part, I'm just going to get my brush wet. So for this, I'm just going to get a little bit of wetness on my brush. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and put in this really dark color. We're going to move from back to front. Put a little bit of a light color there. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to my my round textured brush. And then just while it is all wet, we're going to go ahead and put in any details that you want. And remember that this is rough water, so things don't necessarily need to be super smooth. I'm going to have two different brushes, one for the light pink color, and then another one for the blues. Alright. So again, I'm just kind of looking at the colors and trying to figure out, is it a blue? Is it a green? Is it a purple or a pink? Which way is the water going? Is the water textured? Is it smooth? Is it blended? Is it choppy? If it's smooth and blended, then go ahead and do it when it's wet. If it's choppy and the colors are kind of like really defined, then do that when parts of it have dried. Come over here, all of this stuff is going this direction. So then I have this purpley color. And this is going to be blended, so I'm going to blend back up into this section. I'm going to come in with a lighter color and just add a little bit of variance. I'm just playing with the colors really. I'm just looking at it and seeing what colors are missing. Is it a purple, blue, or pink? And then just adjusting those. And again, these, it doesn't have to look exactly like the it doesn't have to look exactly like the reference. The reference is really just there to help guide you, not to tell you exactly what to do. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do this bottom piece because it's supposed to be blended. I'm just kind of letting all that other stuff dry. Interesting what the different colors do once they mix with the bluish green, because this one almost turns yellow, and it's so interesting. So I'm really learning which colors work well with the mixing and what kind of needs to wait until after it dries. So if things are wet, I can learn that I can add the color, but I can't really blend the color all that well, or else it'll mix in and completely change and alter the color. This pink color, which is very pink, I think maybe it needs to be a little bit more pink. Alright, So we're just gonna keep trucking along. We're almost done. Some of this has some texture to it. We can put that texture on if we want to. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of lighter pink spots. Just kind of blend those out a little bit. And just keep adding those little bits of detail until you come up with something that you enjoy and makes you happy. I'm going to grab a little bit of white and add it to this blue to kind of lighten up this area. I think some of this can be a little on the lighter side because it's like closer, you know. I'm going to add this lighter purple in places where I feel like I need a little bit of highlight. And don't forget to paint the sides. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and try to just add a little bit more of these lighter pink colors and then probably call it good. All right, just gonna add a couple more light areas. All right. I think, let's see. I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and grab just the tiniest bit of this bright pink. I think that's what I'm going to add. So just that bright pink and some white, and that's what I'm going to add to the lightest bits. All right. And then the rest I'm just kind of gonna put in a little bit of this to make kind of just tiny bit uneven, just so it's not at all like the same. All right. Ooh, that was scary. It moved. All right, and there you have it. Our beautiful sunset. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a line over essentially all of the tops where they should be peeking over, and that will kind of just define all of the waves for us. All right. I think we're gonna call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed teaching this class and enjoyed painting with you. So if you would like to share your painting with me, make sure you go onto my Facebook page. Just look up under groups, Samantha Anderson Artist. I can also, I will link it down below, and it's in my posts all over Facebook. So feel free to go and share your painting with me. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next month. And yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks, same time, same place. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.